Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Political Forum, which covers this year some very important races in our community. Tonight, we will present to you the candidates for the county school board seats for 3 districts. We will also present to you a candidate for the city school board seat, which is a contested race. In addition to that, we will have the candidates for the Cleveland City Council. This political forum is presented to you, has been since 1971 by the Cleveland Lions Club, which was joined by the Bradley County Bar Association. This is a civic group, the Lions Club, and the professional group of the Bradley County Bar Association. These groups are not partisan in any way with reference to any of the races which are involved. We merely present this to you so that you can be an informed voter and make a choice based upon information which you've received by your own research and from the candidates themselves. The procedure we will use tonight is very similar to what we've used every year. Each of the candidates will be given 90 seconds to introduce themselves to you and state the major issues which they believe will be addressed in their particular race. Questions then will be directed to each of the candidates. A specific candidate is the first responder. That candidate will be given 2 minutes within which to address the question. And then each candidate thereafter, because the issues are the same in the school board races, essentially, they will be given 1 minute to respond. If there's not a response, the moderator has the discretion to request a further response which is given, or if there is a comment made regarding any other particular candidate, that candidate will be given 30 seconds within which to comment on the observations which are made by their opponent. At the conclusion of this hearing today, I could use the term hearing, I'm a lawyer. I am a lawyer. You've heard that comment made before. Everybody's supposed to laugh. But each candidate will be given 1 minute within which to make a closing statement. Folks, I can't tell you how wonderful it is to be hosted in this beautiful facility here at Lee University. Lee University has cooperated with us. They are such an important part of our community. I urge each of you to give thanks to anybody you know at Lee University to contribute to Lee University's wonderful growth in our community. What a great institution it is. We will start with the 1st District County School Board candidates, and I'll ask Mr. Turner to begin. Mr. Turner, tell the people of Bradley County, and especially the voters in your district, who you are and what you think the major issue is in your race.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Logan. First, I'd like to thank the people of Bradley County for the opportunity to represent them, especially the 1st District, for the last 4 years. I represent Hopewell, McDonald, and Prospect. I'd like to thank Lee University, the Lions Club, and Bar Association. Our civic groups are so important to the fabric of our community and what they contribute to our school system. Thank you is all we can say, but thank you isn't enough to acknowledge what so many groups do for our students in Bradley County. I'm unique in this race in that I'm a product of Bradley County schools. I graduated from Bradley Central in 1990. My wife and I met in high school in chemistry class, and that may be a cliche, but that's fact. We met in chemistry 2 in Beverly Brown at the time, Beverly Howell's chemistry class at Bradley. My 3 kids started in a 1st District school at Hopewell. They all had Miss Jones as a kindergarten teacher, and they've all gone through our school system. So I've been a parent for the last 15 years. I know what parents face. I know what teachers face. I'm married to a teacher. My sister-in-laws are teachers in our system. I hear every day from my family and from the people in our school system what their priorities and their needs are. And the biggest issue facing the next 4 years are the investments that we're going to make to help our students and to help our teachers. We're finally in a place where we've got our finances under control. We're not talking about new taxes, and we've got a plan for the future. Strategic planning has brought us to this point. We must keep moving forward. We cannot afford to go back. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Nancy Kaysen. Nancy, please introduce yourself to the folks who don't know you in the 1st District and throughout our community. And like Mr. Turner, there are very few of us who don't know who you folks are. Tell us who Nancy Kaysen is and what you think the major issue facing
Okay,
Bradley
I'm
County.
Nancy Kaysen. I'm a candidate for District 1 School Board. That's Hopewell, Prospect, and McDonald. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm an active member of Broad Street United Methodist Church, where I'm secretary of the church council, I'm praise team leader, and I also sing in the adult choir. I'm a business owner. I have the Red Ribbon, little gift shop downtown. And before that, my husband Flavis and I had Kaysen Art, which was an international business. We shipped all over the world. We did art, bedspreads, drapes, anything, any military facility or any other facility in the world needed, we supplied to them, except we didn't carpet your floors or paint your walls. During that time, we also owned Reliance Furniture, which made antique reproduction furniture from 100-year-old wood. And also during that time, we had a business in Guatemala City, where we employed students at the university there to paint large canvases for us. Flavis wanted to retire in 2008, so we sold the business. And prior to all of this business experience I have, I was a classroom teacher in McMinn County. I'm certified in everything from K through 12, supervision, classroom, and anything that you need for me to do. I left education in '87. I'm very active in the Cleveland community, in the Chamber of Commerce, Junior Achievement, and several other organizations that I'm very active in that have to do with education. And I think one of our problems right now in our schools, teacher morale.
Thank you very much. Next, in the 3rd District, we have Nick Lilios. Mr. Lilios, tell the viewers tonight who Nick Lilios is and what you view the major issue to be in the county school board races.
Thanks, Jim. Good evening. My name's Nicholas Lilios. I've served 4 years on the Bradley County School Board. One of those years as the chairman. I've strived for reform of our failing infrastructure. I've pushed towards better preparedness of students for college and careers. During those 4 years, I've been active in this community. I've served as Rotary Club's president. I've worked on the museum board, the Main Street board, both as chairman. I've been as involved as a guy can be in our community. My candidate, you might hear from him tonight, wants to make this about the fact that I was born into money, as if that's something to be ashamed of. 6 generations of my family have worked hard here in Bradley County and had some luck along the way. Yet, that American dream, he wants to find fault. The fact that my family has continued to give back to this community, the fact that I give back to this community and want to serve our county, he wants to make that an issue. I see that as a strength. I'm proud of my family's heritage. I'm proud of what I'm doing for this community. I'm proud of the fact that the small salary that our school board members receive, I've donated right back into the Education Foundation and to my son's school, who is going to be a 1st grader at North Lee Elementary. We're very proud of him and we look forward to his next year at school, which starts way too early next week.
Mr. Bryson, candidate for the 3rd District County School Board seat.
Good evening, and thank you to the people at Lee University, the Lions Club, and the Lawyers Association for hosting this. I really appreciate it. I'm sure all the other candidates appreciate it. My name's Ted Bryson. I'm a candidate for Bradley County School Board. My wife of 35 years is Yvonne Bryson. She's been employed at Tenova for 42 years, graduated from Carson Newman University. 3 sons. Tommy, graduate of Lincoln Memorial. He's in environmental science. Andy, doctor of pharmacy, graduated from Sanford University, pharmacy school. My son Matthew, a lawyer in Chattanooga, went to Sanford University and then graduated from Emory University School of Law. All these children graduates of the Bradley County schools, and I'm proud of that fact. During my tenure as principal at Oak Grove School and as an educator in Bradley County schools, I served in every area or supervised every area, pre-K through 12. And also I served as a teacher, a coach, a mentor, a tutor, a club sponsor, a grade chairman, maintenance worker, and I taught several grade levels at that time too. I attended parent conferences, in-service meetings, PTA meetings, board meetings, principals meetings, teachers meetings, fall festivals, auctions, fundraisers, plays, concerts, and sporting events, all for your children. While my opponent was traveling the world, getting rich or making money. That's true. I'm not ashamed of it. I worked hard and made a lot of money because I worked hard and went to school. I appreciate the fact that. Thank you. Sorry.
Nothing to be sorry about. Mr. Rose, introduce yourself to the people who might not know you and reacquaint yourself with the voters of the 7th District race for the County School Board.
I'm Charlie Rose. I've been on the school board for 8 years, come September the 1st. I'm a retired school teacher, guidance counselor. I have 3 children that graduated from Bradley Central High School, and I have 4 grandchildren now in Bradley County. So I'm very interested in the school system. I taught school for 40 years, and my wife taught school in Bradley County schools for 25 years. In Bradley County, the board is a very important position, and I would like to thank the community, 7th District, for allowing me to serve for 8 years. On the board, I've run into issues such as fiscal responsibility, teacher training, student achievement, school maintenance, responding to federal and state regulations, which includes unfunded mandates. And when you put all these things together and try to make it work, you try to transfer that into a climate that is good for our students in Bradley County schools. So I think the major issues that we deal with now is to keep going in the direction we're going. And I would appreciate it if you would vote for me, but I also think it's important to know that we have had no new taxes in Bradley County, property taxes, and we have built 5 schools, not schools, but additions and building structures in the county with no tax increases. We presented a budget to the commission this year, which is balanced with no increase.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Thank you. Mr. Frazier, introduce yourself to the people and reacquaint yourself to the people of the district in which you're running, the 7th District, and tell us what you think the major issues are facing the Bradley County School Board.
Thank you, Jim. I'm Jerry Frazier, and I'm a product of Cleveland and Bradley County Schools. I grew up across the street from Templeton Hill School, where your mom was my 5th grade teacher, one of the best I ever had. And I've lived in the schoolyard all my life and loved teachers and kids and parents. And I was a superintendent a couple of times, and I had this slogan, it's the kids that count, and they still count. You know, I've not used that much this time, but it's still true. I've done everything you can do in the school business. I was a teacher, coach. Before that, I was a PTO president, I guess, at North Lee, as my son came through there. My wife is a retired teacher. My son and daughter-in-law are teachers. I have 2 granddaughters that are currently students. Obviously, I want the school system to be the best it can be. In addition to being a teacher, coach, assistant principal, principal, and superintendent, I also taught some graduate courses at Lee, and also taught at the Tennessee Academy for School Leaders, and did a lot of work for the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, getting schools accredited across Tennessee and Georgia. As far as the issue, I guess I would agree with Ms. Case, and I think teachers and teacher morale, the most important people working in the school system are teachers, and we can't do enough to support them.
Thank you very much. Thank you, each of you, for that introduction. These questions are questions that were suggested by a variety of people over the years, and as I said, oftentimes the questions seem to remain much the same, as you can well imagine, as to the issues that confront the school system. A relatively new concept of emphasis has been career path decision making. We've heard references in both of the conventions to those aspects of potential change in the school systems, and many other countries are making early career path decisions. What about, to each of you, and we'll start with you, Ms. Kaysen, what about career path decision making? When should it begin? Should we give aptitude testing? How do we make those decisions as to who's going to be a liberal arts or a technologist?
Well, you're asking someone who was a former 2nd grade teacher, and I felt like at that time there were a lot of career decisions that could be made from a 7-year-old, their interests and things they were interested in. I think middle school, and we have a lot of neat things going on in our middle schools now with the STEM programs that are helping students to become aware of different things that are out there for them. Not every child is college material. And we all know that, and as long as it's accepted, then we need to be sure that we have programs for these students to go into something that's maybe not college. And we have some great technical things that are going on at the high school too. Some career things that teachers are doing there at both our high schools, at Bradley and at Walker Valley. And I know I was somewhere the other day, and one of the students in the theater class, in the filming production class, was there, and that's what he wants to do. He's a junior at Walker Valley, but he wants to pursue this and go on into a career in television production. And so he has an opportunity to enhance that before he steps on into that career.
Okay, let me follow up the one part of that, and I'll extend the time that you have just for a few seconds. Aptitude testing, is that not something that's available that we don't do?
You know, as a former classroom teacher, I'm going to say aptitude testing can help, but it doesn't necessarily help because some students are just not test takers, and some students are going to try to enhance what they're putting on the test. And so, but I think there are tests as students get into middle school and high school that would tend to lead us to help them go that way. But I don't think that we should necessarily program them to go directly that way. This needs to be their decision and not from a test result.
Thank you. Mr. Turner, we're going to stay in your district. I think that's the best way for us to do it. You understand the question?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what your view is about career path decision making, when it should begin, and whether or not we should have aptitude testing early on?
Absolutely. I've had the privilege of going to Prospect's kindergarten graduation for the last 4 years. And we look at the career signs that those kids hold up. There's an awful lot of firemen. There's an awful lot of policemen. They're admirable things that children identify with. And I think that is indicative of what kids are exposed to as they continue through our system. Today we already offer a number of tools. I think it's called the Compass test we offer in middle school, which is both aptitude as well as interest, and it gives a career portfolio that may help a student make some choices. But since I've raised my kids in the school system, I'll tell you that I'll adamantly defend parents and student choice about what they want to do. I believe it's our job as a school board and a school system to help prepare kids with the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Education hasn't changed much since my mom taught me in geometry a long time ago. Okay. We need to give them the tools, we need to give them the exposure so that they can make the choice that fits their opportunities.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lilios, interesting questions. Career path decision making, when do you start? And should there be testing early on to develop responses, potential responses to whether or not we go technology, vocational versus liberal arts?
You know, Jim, it was probably my sophomore year in college before I started getting an idea of what direction I wanted to head. And then it wasn't until my senior year, when being interviewed by Schlumberger, that I decided I wanted to be a career geologist. And then 10 years later, I'm redeveloping real estate right here in Cleveland, Tennessee. So to say when's the right time to give a kid an aptitude test and tell him that he's destined to be a plumber or an astronaut or a fireman or a street sweeper, I just think exposure and opportunity, those were the two watchwords I'm going to use for this. We need to give students all the opportunities to take different classes, and we need to make sure they're exposed to all sorts of career options and college options so they can continue to change the decisions about their life as they go along, because life is a bunch of changes. It's never one steady course.
Good. Mr. Bryson, your response. Career path decision making, when do we begin? Should we provide parents and students with aptitude testing?
Well, as early as possible, we should begin talking to parents about it. At Oak Grove School 10, 15 years ago, we had Career Day sponsored by a guidance counselor doing some of the things they're talking about. I attended kindergarten graduations for over 20 years, and they did the same thing, and he's correct that they do that. I love that, and I think parents ought to be involved in it. I do not think that we ought to force a kid in a career path at age 7. We ought to give them the opportunities to experience those things and then decide for themselves. I know too many people that were coerced into being a doctor or whatever by their parents, and later they were not happy about it. So give kids all the input they want, all the knowledge, all the things, planning, and give them the training that they need to do jobs that aren't even available today, that we don't know about jobs that are available today. And let me say one thing quickly. I never said, and I believe that Mr. Lilo's family, it's the last time I'm going to say it, it's an excellent family, the Card family, wonderful people. I'm not going to offend myself anymore. I'm glad he's rich. I want to be rich. I worked hard to make money. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Rose? Yes. We'll give you that opportunity. You can call it out. I thought he was complimenting you, but go ahead.
I have to point out Mr. Bryson's brought this up, and every time he's given an opportunity to speak, he continues to want to find fault with private enterprise and being a businessman when all his life he's collected a government check. Now he wants to run a government institution. I don't believe collecting a government check qualifies you for running a government institution.
I'm going to let you have 10 seconds,
Yes, sir.
Mr.
I
Bryson.
served 6 years in the Army, unlike my opponent, so you could do what you wanted to. I say again, he obviously doesn't hear well. I do not disagree with his family. They're wonderful people. That's the last time I said I'm going to say it. But I'm here to tell you, I worked hard to get where I am, and I do not believe that nothing disqualifies me unless I was in prison or something. I'm telling you, my family worked hard in this town just as his family did. But they were on education while he was making his millions.
Thank you, Mr. Bryson. Mr. Rose, we'll go back to not how much money you got, but career path decision-making and aptitude testing. Apparently, there's a lot of debate in the education field about this.
Well, 1994, I started a career ed class at Truett Junior High School in the 8th grade. We had a computer program that was called Career Scope, and it dealt with aptitude and attitude and interest inventory to put those things together. It was 98% correct at the 8th grade level, it could predict. So I understand a little bit about what you're talking about. And I think it's extremely important that we do help children with opportunities. We have to give children the opportunity to explore as many careers as they can, but we also have to prepare them academically so that they're qualified. But I do think we need to continue to introduce. I do not know if they do Career Scope anymore. I don't believe they do, but they do more of an interest inventory at this stage of the game. But anyway, I understand what they're trying to do. I do not think everyone should have a college education, though.
Mr. Frazier, you told us about having served in the various capacities that you have. Talk to us about career path decision making.
Good answers all around, and Jimmy, it's a situation where good teachers and parents work together. Guidance counselors work with them. Charlie was a guidance counselor. We did that when you started that program. I was the superintendent. We did the career lab, the technology labs at Lake Forest, Ocoee Middle, and Charleston in partnership with Cleveland Associated Industries. What I would say is that counselors have way huge loads. Charlie, when you were a counselor at Truett Junior High, you probably had a 500-to-1 ratio, more than that. So I think the counselors are outnumbered really badly in our schools, but I think they do a great job steering people toward the occupational clusters. There's 7 occupational clusters, and the counselors and the teachers work together to help identify that and talk with parents about that. Bradley County has 2 wonderful comprehensive high schools that offer many vocational choices, and students can go from there to work. During my tenure, we started dual enrollment, so many kids graduate now with high school diplomas and associate degrees at the same time. And you can look around Bradley County at many, many local leaders, and you can look at the best lawyers, surgeons, engineers, anybody you want. They're products of the Bradley County School.
Thank you very much, Mr. Frazier. Mr. Lilios, to you, interesting question that was given to me about a month ago when we first started talking about this, and then they called back today and they said, with reference to this question, did you hear Mayor Bloomberg's speech last night at the Democrat convention, former Republican mayor of New York City, and he was talking about private enterprise, business and industry, and their involvement in the education system. As you know, there are teaching certificates that are required and various other kinds of things. How can we merge private enterprise into the education system? Should we? And can they not provide PhDs and other people that we otherwise don't afford? What about going into a system, proposing something to merge private business and private enterprise into aiding education, as opposed to just money?
Sure, Jim. Well, currently, Bradley County Schools has a BEST program. We have something we call BEST Partners, which are industries in the area or business professionals that partner with the school system in areas that they're particularly apt in. We have, for example, Lewis Group Architects. Doug Haywood is one of our best partners who provides countless hours out at Valley View Elementary helping students understand and appreciate architecture as a profession. Many of the other companies do that as well. But something else you're referring to is actually having someone, what you would call in the college world an adjunct professor, come in and teach a specific class. And we have a barrier to that dictated by our state government that says you have to have all these different certificates before you can walk into a classroom. I would like to actually see some of those barriers come down. I don't think that if you are an engineer for Walker Chemical and just because you lack a teaching certificate, you should be not included in a high school classroom. I think just the opposite. You're probably exactly the person we need, inspiring high school students to go on and become engineers themselves. Now, certifications in any industry is a barrier to entry, and it's sometimes put there by those who already have it to keep people out. There's plumbers that have plumbing certificates that don't want new plumbers to come in and take their jobs. Same thing in the teaching industry. They want you to achieve a certain level of certification because that's going to keep you out. But yet universities, this one right here, Lee University that we're sitting in, takes adjunct professors all the time from the community and does very well with them. And it's a great opportunity for someone to give to the schools, give back to the community without making a lifelong commitment to the school. They can come in and teach one specific class, and I do believe we would see more doctors teaching classes, engineers, highly educated people, professionals who could inspire our students to excel in their careers in life.
Thank you. Mr. Bryson, an interesting concept. You may remember we used to have, Olin Corporation would provide chemistry instruction at Bradley High School, those kinds of things. What about integrating people who are professionals into the education system when they're dealing with particular issues like chemistry, physics, those types of things?
I agree 100%. We ought to use the best people for the jobs. And we have a lot of excellent trained chemistry teachers and so forth already, but there are a lot of your higher end courses where it is hard to get, and people from out in the business world would be excellent. We had at our school, in elementary school, people come in all the time. Our best partners sent people all the time to help us and tutor. Michigan Avenue had parents from our people that worked at the factory that was their company, that was their best partner, that came in and did their computer lab. So we started doing that. We loved it, we worked it as much as we can, and we would continue to do it. It is a great program to do that. But I'm an educator, and I do not oppose the certification for teachers. There's a reason why you go to school, to medical school to be a doctor. There's a reason why you go to law school to be a lawyer. There's a reason why you go to education school to be a teacher. And I'm here to tell you, there's more to it than just numbers. You've got to love children. And if those people love children and will do that, that's great.
Mr. Rose, this concept is not utilized, as I understand it, in the state of Tennessee, utilized in some other states. What's your thoughts about private industry business partnerships using skilled individuals from those businesses to provide instructional services?
I personally think that would be a very good idea as long as they follow certain training procedures. For example, we have people right now teaching in the tech departments at both high schools that have so many years of experience in the field, and they can bring them in to teach in that area, and then they go back to school for a year or so to get certified, to pick up the courses they need to be state recognized. So we're doing a little bit of that right now. Now, I think I would like to see Bradley County, one of my visions would see Bradley County get a property where we can integrate the public and small industry coming in, like an incubator site, and have our children in that building that are interested in that particular area, that they can move over in and get the training from industry. That's one of the visions I see, and that would present many more opportunities for children.
Thank you. Mr. Frazier, interesting concept.
It is an interesting concept, and it's one that's been going on for a long time, Jimmy. I don't know, Nick talked about BEST, and that's an acronym for Business and Education Serving Together. That's where the word BEST comes from. It's been in existence for many, many years. The dual enrollment programs that I alluded to earlier, many of those have professors from Cleveland State who actually come to Bradley or go to Walker Valley and teach those classes already. And so it's not a new concept. It's been around. The VICA advisory councils for the vocational courses, they have engineers in and out of those classes all the time, mechanics. So this is not a new concept. It's a great one. In addition, some schools, and this is unfortunate that they did this, but I remember North Lee was the first school that had a technology teacher because the PTO raised the money and paid for it. You know, the school couldn't provide it, but the parents wanted it for their children, and they got it done.
Thank you. Mr. Turner, how about private industry providing some instruction in specialty areas?
So a number of comments have already been made. I was a best partner with Blue Springs Elementary School before the storm hit it and destroyed it. The engineers at Cleveland Tubing taught mechanical engineering principles and engineering principles to kids who'd scored advanced and showed an aptitude and interest in that. So, you know, we've talked about these types of things, and I think everybody up here has a real passion for trying to get out of the box. But as Nicholas alluded to, there are barriers that are there, and everything, if you hear what's been said, is an all or nothing. You either teach after school, you do something that's supplemental but it doesn't affect the classroom credit, or you go get an alternative licensure as a professional and you decide to become a school teacher in the school system, etc. What we need is out of the box thinking where we can bring people like myself as a business person who has a degree in chemical engineering. I can teach chemistry or calculus or business or human resource management and teach one-off classes with the help of a classroom teacher. That's where we've got to get out of the box. That's the next level of education in public education.
Ms. Kaysen, what about that? Should we have a lawyer from Logan Thompson or from Chancey Canavas to help and go and participate in instruction on legal principles that would be applicable to the various activities of the students in the future?
I think that would be wonderful, and I'm one of those people that have been a proponent for this for years, but it's like everybody has alluded to, there are state requirements that do not allow that to happen. Now, with our BEST partnership, business and education serving together, we do have people going into the classroom doing some things like that and working in the schools. Also with junior achievement, we have volunteers that go in and teach the fundamentals of entrepreneurship and financial independence and a lot of things like that. So we do have some people that are going in on voluntary situations. But I would love to see the state of Tennessee do something that would accredit these, give some kind of accreditation to some of these professionals so we could bring them into the school system to teach some of these classes.
Sounds like I got some questions for the legislators in November.
That'd be wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for your responses. Mr. Rose, let's move forward to you and let's talk about something that is a national crisis. I know it's a crisis in some of the surrounding states. A lot of national literature about retention of teachers and the difficulty of retention of teachers, some moving from one system to another. As you know, we have teachers in Tennessee who move to Georgia and to other places are undertaking other vocations. Do we have a problem about retention of teachers? What should we do to ensure that we can retain good teachers?
That's a difficult question to answer because
That's why I ask you.
that's how I'm going to answer it. One of the big issues we have is that, you know, a lot of our teachers are female and they're married to husbands who have jobs in the business and they make money. They make a little bit more money. So when the parent, I believe I'm going to say 10 in one school this year, and over half of those that left was because the husband was transferred, or vice versa. The female may have been transferred in their business job, and the teachers moved with them. So we do have a problem with that in retention. That's a lot of the problem we have. The other things I think that we're dealing with is the state and the continual change and the high pressure the state, the federal government put on teachers, and the boards have to respond to those things and try to help defend teachers. This year, something has happened that I think will help. Next year, students will be tested 30% less in the classroom next year than they were this year. And that's because this board, the Bradley County School Board and other school boards, have fought to get that reduction because it's very stressful on teachers. Now that's some of the issues we deal with. Where's my time? Okay.
Good time. You got plenty.
Oh, I've got plenty of time. 30 seconds. Okay. All right. The other things that contribute to that is the teachers. We have a tough job, teachers do. They do not choose their raw material to make a product. Whatever walks in the door, we don't know what they're going to be when they grow up, but we have to make a product that will contribute to society. So there's a lot of stress that goes with teaching, and I think that also causes some of the teachers to leave the business, as well as those other things I discussed.
Mr. Frazier, you've been in the school system for a long time. We see some teachers leave the profession for various reasons. How can we improve the retention of good teachers?
Well, I think first of all that teachers are probably better than they've ever been because they have more and better tools than they've ever had. As far as teacher morale, a great deal of that has to do with how supported they feel. In Bradley County this year, unfortunately, the salary increase for teachers is very poor, and we can blame the state or blame whatever. Another issue that troubles me a little bit is we reduce the number of teachers sometimes when budgetary considerations come around, and I know education has infinite needs and finite resources, but I also know that teachers should be the number one place where we focus at. We take away some tools. I had some teachers contact me this week about losing a couple of programs that they used greatly, and that makes it very hard. The mechanic needs a full toolbox, and so does the teacher.
Mr. Turner, what about retention of teachers? Do we have, first of all, maybe we don't really have a problem. The people who've responded thus far seem to think that we do. Tell me about retention of teachers and your views as to how we can enhance the willingness of people to stay in the education profession.
Sure. So you opened the dialogue on this topic and you said national crisis. And it is. It's a national crisis. The United States is no different than Tennessee, which is no different than Bradley County, which is no different than Bradley County Schools or Cleveland City. And it is a crisis. And it's a crisis, and I'll be blunt, because we are testing our kids and our teachers to death. I think Mr. Rose said that we're having a 30% reduction this year. Thank goodness our legislators have been listening to this school board, because we have been preaching that from every mountaintop. Our teachers have been tested to death. Mr. Rose was kind enough to author the resolution that we took to Nashville, which changed the State Board of Education regulation, which was going to remove professional certification and their licensure based on student test scores. We've got an addiction to testing, or the companies who promote testing have convinced us that this is in our best interest. And it's that kind of pressure that we've got to support our teachers locally. And that's what our board has done in Nashville. We'll continue to do in Nashville. We'll continue to fight back and to try to let our teachers know that we have their back.
Ms. Kaysen, what do we do about this crisis that the statistics say is out there?
As a former classroom teacher, I want to tell you there's a comfort zone that the teachers need. And right now our teachers in Bradley County don't seem to think they have that comfort zone. And I'm not saying that every teacher needs to go, ha, 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 I'm having a wonderful day, but I'm saying there's a comfort zone. They do not need to feel threatened, and if testing's what's threatening them, then I'm glad to see we're taking care of that. But there is not a comfort zone with a lot of our teachers right now that there needs to be. And that makes you want to stay as a teacher. And if you don't want to stay, then you're going to be looking for something else to do, or you're going to stay at home and raise your children, which is also fine. But I would like to see our teachers be a little bit more encouraged in what they're doing. And as Mr. Frazier brought up, the raises are not what they need to be for teachers to be appreciated personally, feeling that they're appreciated. And then the testing, as people have mentioned, as a classroom teacher, I despise the achievement test and still have a lot of problems with the testing.
Thank you. Mr. Lilios, should we stop testing people to retain teachers?
Well, Jim, that would be a whole new question, but speaking
Talk to
on
me about the
teacher
retention
retention, on this issue, you know who worries about teacher retention is Hamilton County. Their superintendent was quoted last year as saying he was worried about Bradley County taking his teachers. We have a system that people come to because we have a good community, a wholesome community, a good way of life. You're not in it for the money, are you, teachers? I know that's why you didn't take the job for money. You're in it because you wanted to be in it. And the people that leave for money, they were in it for the wrong reasons to begin with. So now talking about morale, when I was working in my job, I didn't ask for my boss to help me feel better about myself. I decided in myself I was going to do a good job that day and I was going to feel good about myself. Don't wait for someone else to help you improve your morale. Do it yourself.
Mr. Bryson, teacher retention.
Well, before I say that, I'd like to tell you, I'll be down at your office tomorrow to try a few cases for you.
Thank you.
Since people seem to think you don't need any certification. At Oak Grove School, since I left, 5 teachers left. 4 of them left because the board cut teachers at Oak Grove School for whatever reason. Maybe the numbers are down. According to my record, I'm not sure they were that much down. 1 teacher left because her husband got a better job in Florida. We don't have a problem that I know of in Bradley County retaining teachers, except for the fact that they feel like they're not being supported by the board. If you don't believe me, go ask them, and you'll find out that what I'm telling you is the truth. I'm here to tell you, teachers in Bradley County teach hard. Oak Grove teachers teach hard. I had a waiting list of probably 100 people that wanted to come to Oak Grove School as teachers. I had a list of 1,000 people, of students that wanted to come to Oak Grove School. We got requests from the hospital. So we were doing a pretty good job at Oak Grove School. Not myself, my teachers were doing a good job, and we had good parents and we had good students. Worked hard.
Thank you very much. Going to move to the next question, our area of discussion. Mr. Frazier, you know, we always talk about funding needs. From your review, are our funding needs being met today for today's students?
Well, Jimmy, I said earlier that education has infinite needs and finite resources. So it's a matter of prioritizing when you ask that question. We probably have some areas where we're doing a good job. We probably have some areas that really need improvement. So I think there's a lot of room to work in prioritizing. By the same, and this board, for instance, this year, and I'm not faulting them. I'm just saying this year, one of the things that they've campaigned on is that we didn't spend 800 and something thousand or $1.4 million of the budget, and that's awesome. But if that happens, and then we cut out $43,000 worth of programs that teachers want in their classrooms and need, I'm not sure that was a good decision. So obviously, school boards and superintendents will spend what they can, and they'll spend it in the best fashion they can, hopefully the most bang for the buck for the kids in the classroom.
Mr. Rose, funding needs being met or not?
Well, according to the BEP and their own research committee, they fund teachers $10,000 less a year than their own committee recommends. So we're not getting money from the BEP that we should be getting.
And what is the BEP?
I don't know the exact name, but that's the formula that they use to not tell you how to spend it, but to budget money to schools, okay, by the state legislature. They budget the money, you know, they do capital outlay, school supplies, or student classroom supplies, teacher salaries, and things like that. Well, in their own study, they said themselves, and they recommended that they give every teacher $10,000 more than we're getting from BEP. So for us to maintain personnel in our system, we have to take money from the capital outlay part that comes to us. So then our buildings don't stay up like they should. So we take money from our capital outlay to increase teacher salaries. And I got more to say, but I guess I'm out of time.
Well, we're going to give you some more time in a few minutes. We're
Okay.
not stingy with the time around here. Mr. Turner, tell me, you've been on the school board now for 4 years.
4 years.
Are we meeting our needs by funding? Do we need more money from the state? Do we need more money from the county?
Well, it's already been said, infinite needs, infinite wants. I'm married to a teacher. We get a rebate check from Staples every month. So I can tell you that teachers spend money out of their pocket to support their classrooms. Parents spend lots of money to send their kids back to school. So I think that's a reflection of some of the things that we need in our community. Mr. Rose definitely talked about the basic education program. That's what BEP stands for. The key word there is basic. It's the basic foundation of providing schools and providing resources and teachers and things to operate the school system. And we've got a big challenge in that we're funded 20 from the bottom in Bradley County, but yet our test scores are the best in the region. So I guess it's a question of, do you want fancy buildings and fancy shiny things, or do we want effective classrooms? Do we want high quality teachers? And we put our money where we need it, and that is our teacher salaries. We didn't get money from the state for salary increases for teachers because we already exceeded the state minimum salary schedule by $10,000. That's why we didn't get funding for teacher salaries. And that was a sticking point for all of us.
Ms. Kaysen.
I think we get enough money for funding. I'm kind of concerned about how this board has proportioned that, and I think that's one thing we need to look at and see exactly how some of this money is being spent and proportioned out into different areas.
Mr. Lilios.
Ms. Logan, the question of are we adequately funded? Absolutely not. If we were the best funded school in the program, which I believe might be Franklin County at 9,000, 10,000 a head, would we be adequately funded? Absolutely not. We would still want more money. There's so much you can do with money in terms of buying technology, putting iPads in kids' hands, building better buildings, hiring better teachers. But you know what? We're willing to live within our means. This board does not get to decide how much money we get. We get to decide how we spend it. And there are difficult decisions. There are decisions as a board member you have to make that are going to affect people's lives. Some of you out there watching have already had your lives affected. We've alluded to teachers losing jobs. That's going to happen if we want to continue under this funding formula. So are we funded enough? No. Can we make it? Yes. And it's up to the county commission to decide how well we're making it.
Mr. Bryson, funding needs.
Well, we fought this battle ever since I was probably in education. We've always, Tennessee's been ranked near the bottom in states that are funded. Bradley County's been ranked near the bottom, and we've been fighting it. But if I'm a taxpayer, the board tells me they didn't spend $1.4 million, I'm going to ask you why you need more money. Why do you need more if you didn't spend all that we gave you or we sent you? It's the county commission that decides about taxes. Even though, unlike has been said up here, our school board chair, or at the time I believe it was chairman, on April 22nd, 2015, he didn't ask for a tax increase, but he proposed the county a large tax increase. And my gentleman to the left also supported the wheel tax several years ago. So they have supported taxes, and we all pay taxes, but we need to decide what we've said in the past and where we stood in the past. And I'm here to tell you that 10 seconds ago, $500 the teachers spend out of their pocket minimum $500. My teacher goals have been down there for weeks this summer for nothing.
Thank you very much.
I believe my opponent was referring to me as chairman during that quote. So I'd like to...
I didn't sense
I
that,
did. He's
but
correct.
go ahead.
He's correct.
So as chairman, it's your job to lead the school board and the school system. In that capacity, you fight in every way you can for the students and for the teachers and for the system as a whole. Making proposals of tax increases is part of that leadership. You have to fight for every bit of funding. Now, if I'm a taxpayer, a citizen, and I'm not in that position, I'm going to vote to hold my money in my pocketbook, in my wallet. But when you're in that position, you have to fight to get every dime you can, and you put every idea forward.
Thank you.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes,
am I to his left?
you're to
Correct.
his left.
Okay, so he
Go
said
ahead.
something about me too.
Go
Okay.
ahead. You
All right.
supported a wheel tax.
Yes, I was for the wheel tax. And the reason for that is this, because it was designated specifically for buildings, school buildings. We have buildings that our children go to now that were built in the 30s. Yes, we've remodeled them some and tried to help them, but they still were built in the 30s. We have 10 that were built in the 50s. You know, these schools are getting old. I was trying to bring attention to the public and to everyone in Bradley County that one day we're going to have to respond and we're going to have to do some building so we can upgrade the classrooms that our children are being taught in.
Mr. Bryson, go ahead. Let's just get into it.
Copy of Cleveland Daily Banner proposed a 28-cent tax increase. You read it for yourself and decide. You read it for yourself. And Mr. Rose is an honest person, and I appreciate the fact that he stood up for what he believed in. And I would have taken the money to help in our schools, but I wouldn't have asked for it. And I'm not asking for no tax increase now, or proposing it, or asking commission to do it, or whatever. We'll live within our means, and what the state and what the people are willing to do. We will not propose no 28-cent tax increase. Read it, decide for yourself if he did or not. Some people forgot what they said.
Okay, Mr. Rose, what do you think about that?
The headline said ponders.
Okay.
It says ponders. That's what the
All right.
headline is.
Read it and see for yourself what you think.
It says
somehow-
ponders.
Hold on. That ends that discussion, please. Just a few more questions, and we're going to kind of shorten the time with your permission. The moderator's going to do that based on the time as is shown. A lot of folks have asked about consolidation of administrative services within our systems. That is, using purchasing power of combined systems to get goods that are used in education or products that are used in education. Is that possible? I got two phone calls specifically addressing that, and one that sort of did. Can we work together with the Cleveland City School Board and save money?
So the topic of consolidation of purchasing power is actually much larger than just the two school systems in Bradley County. And in Bradley County, we operate within buying consortiums that are both at the regional level, at the state level, and national level. So we already do that, and that's one of the reasons that we've been so frugal and that we're so efficient with our spending, is that we do things like that.
One of the specific questions that was asked, why can't we combine the busing or transportation services when school buses pass by schools of the other system to deliver students? That was one specific question.
Now that's a little different than a buying consortium.
Sure.
In that Bradley County operates its school buses, and this was a decision made, maybe the senior person on the stage here can help us with that, but we moved to a independent contractor where we outsourced the busing of our students in Cleveland City. Hal Taylor, a friend of mine I go to church with, as maintenance and transportation director, they own their school buses in Cleveland City. So that's apples and oranges, bananas and rocks. I'm not sure what the comparison is there, but that would take a lot of work to do. But you know what? Let's get out of the box. Let's innovate. It's about tax dollars, and let's find a way to work together.
Ms. Kaysen?
Well, I have to say I agree with Mr. Turner. I think that if there's a way for us to save money in the buying power, and I've seen that happen in other businesses where people get together and do a consortium and purchase that way, and the prices are better. So that may be something we need to look at. I know when my husband Flavis was in charge of the consolidation committee for Bradley County, the consolidation of all the different offices and the school systems and everything in Bradley County was discussed, but that was tabled for funding reasons.
Mr. Lilias, talk to me about why buses should pass a school from another system.
Well, Jim, I tell you, it's for the same reason that I passed 6 other schools on the way to take my son to North Lee. Sometimes you just do something better than everybody else, and you need to stick to what you're doing, and that's what Bradley County schools are doing. We're doing something better than the rest of the school systems in our area, And there's a reason why people cross zone and choose Bradley County schools, just like I passed 6 other schools taking my son to school. So the fact that a bus passes a couple bus stops that could have been for a different system, there could be a whole lot more reasons than just convenience.
Right, but we're talking about the students that need the bus to go to the schools that they are zoned for. Is there a way that we can use, that's the question that was called in to me. Is there a way we could work together?
So it's in the probably 10 seconds that I'm going to have, I'm not going to be able to explain how bus routes work, but it's a very complicated business. Some of these buses are going 2 different times to elementary schools, to high schools in the same morning. The routes are complicated. They have to know what kids to expect at different ones. It's more than just, can they stop and pick up these kids too, because they're along the way.
Mr. Bryson.
Well, it's a great idea, but we can't even get along with the city, some of our school board now on who gets the wheel tax or this tax on money or that tax money or whatever. I personally, I like the city people. I like all of them. They're friends of mine, personal friends of mine. I don't have any problem with that, and that would be great. And Mr. Turner's probably right. There's some constraints legally about some of that stuff. We've tried some of that in the past, like bidding on milk or doing other things. But we also have a problem taking bids and then choosing the highest bid. So we got to get along with the city, we got to go along and make some compromises with them. And I'm here to tell you, they're fair people. I believe you can sit down over a cup of coffee and discuss a lot of these issues. We don't need, no offense intended, but we don't need to bring you to all the meetings.
Mr. Rodriguez, since I was called by name, I'd like 30 seconds.
Yes, certainly.
I put my kids on school buses for many years until they started driving to Walker Valley. And as a parent, I'll tell you that it's not just a simple transportation system. It's not a Sethra bus stop. It's not something simple. Those bus drivers know our kids. They form relationships with our kids. Bus drivers called my house and said, "Your kid's misbehaving." I said, "Pop him." It's more complicated than just, let's pick up a pack of people and get them from point A to point B.
I didn't criticize him.
He didn't suggest you did, I don't think. Mr. Rose, talk to me about, are there ways for us to, as Mr. Turner says, think outside the box and maybe work with the city school system to do some better services for both systems?
You could do that, but we have different times that people start in our school system. Elementary will start this time, middle at this time, high school at this time, in our school system. Plus, you want to keep the younger children, see, the buses run 2 different routes in the same day. You want to keep the younger children separated from the older children as much as possible, so they feel comfortable with what they're doing.
Thank you. Mr. Frazier, quickly, if you will, please.
Quickly.
Well, transportation's a big issue. I can't remember how many miles they travel every day, but I remember reducing the number of bus routes by 13 back in the 70s when the state reduced some funding for us. And it's tough. So the transportation people have a tough job. Certainly the supervisors of city and county are both people of goodwill. I'm confident that they could work together. Also, there's a lot of special needs transportation. We actually have bus drivers who not only greet them in the morning, the first person they see, and the last one they leave in the evening. We have some who actually go in the house, pick them up, and carry them to the bus, or get some unique situations handled. So bus drivers and parents and students have some unique relationships that are very, very important.
Thank you very much. We're running short of time. We're going to start with closing statements now. Mr. Frazier, I'm going to start with you and come back across to Mr. Turner, and you'll have the last word except for mine. Mr. Frazier.
Okay, well, thank you. It's been very enjoyable being here. Charlie Rose is a good friend of mine, and I think it's time for a change on the school board in the 7th District. I think if you look that I have a much greater experience. I have a history of leadership in the community. Nick talked about civic work earlier. I've been in Noonday Rotary, a charter member of Sunrise Rotary, served on boards for Keep America Beautiful, Junior Achievement, the Moccasin Bend Girl Scout Council, the Ruritan Club, the Economic Development Council, the YMCA, and the adult chapter of Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So I just think I've had a lot broader experience of giving service and leadership. I don't think there are very many educational issues that concerned parents and caring teachers cannot resolve. I think for them to take credit for being reduced testing is a little bit ridiculous because everybody's for reduced testing, and that's not the key. The key is that these new tests and the curriculum aligned. You know, if you get a new test and the curriculum's not aligned with it, your scores are going to go down and vice versa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Frazier. Mr. Rose, 1 minute.
I'd like to say that I've been honored to serve the 7th District on the Bradley County School Board for the last 8 years. I think the school board is on the right direction. I think we have good morale in our school system. The early release of ACT scores have indicated increases in both the Bradley Center High School and Walker Valley High School. And my understanding of employees and their production level correlates with how comfortable they feel in the classroom. And I believe that our children are getting good instruction from the teachers. I believe our teachers are good teachers, great teachers, some of them, and they do a great job, and I appreciate what they do. But now this bit about a moral, it's just not there. It's just not there, I'm sorry. There may be a small percentage that are very loud, but when you look at the results of the test scores, it indicates just the opposite of productivity by our employees.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rose. Mr. Bryson, 1 minute.
When I retired from school system, I went to work at Life Bridges. Been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life working with these young people and older people as well. I'm running for school board because many teachers said just the opposite of what I've heard. And they're telling me they would need me to run for school board because they know I'm honest, they know I work hard, and they know what I'm talking about. And if you want to talk to me and I didn't explain it in detail today, call me 595-1547. I'll be glad to go over a lot of other issues that weren't covered tonight. I love teaching. I love students. I love all children. Don't matter where they come from. Don't matter if they're rich or poor. I don't care how rich they are, how poor they are. I love them. And I'll work hard for the taxpayers of the city and the Bradley County schools. I will not waste your money on things such as paying Johnny McDaniel to leave town and rest on the beach. I will not spend higher money without reason for hiring a new cleaning service. I will not change books in the middle of the term and cost the county money without good reason. Thank you. Have a good day. Vote for Ted Bryson.
Mr. Lilios.
Jim, it's been a pleasure to be here this evening. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, the voters of the 3rd District. As you know, over these 4 years, I have listened to you. I have worked very hard to make sure that I'm available and that I'm listening and I'm working for this community. As I've said before, my family has been invested in this community for generations, and I plan to invest my remainder of my life here as I'm doing with my family, my home, and my business. The Bradley County school system is a very integral part of our community, and it's important that it's run by folks that have experience with the matters that come before the board. We're not teaching kids on the board. We're not administrating a classroom. We're running a $70 million operation. Do you want to leave that just to a retired teacher, or do you want to leave that to someone who's operated a business, who understands what buildings need, who understands how finance works beyond just his own home finance?
Thank you, Mr. Lilios. Ms. Kaysen.
Okay, as a former classroom teacher, I can affiliate with the teachers, and as a board member, I'd be glad to do that. But I've also been a business person, so I know how to handle finances, I know how to handle personnel, and I'm real concerned about our Bradley County school system. I am available to anyone. I am here in Bradley County 24/7. You can reach me by phone, you can text me, you can email me, and I will respond to your request, and I will listen to your concerns. May not agree with them, folks, but I will be open and I will be receptive to listening to them, and I will discuss them with you. And if it's something I think that needs to be brought to the board, I will bring it to the board. But again, I am here in Bradley County 24/7, and I would appreciate your vote, District 1, Bradley County School Board. Thank you.
Mr. Turner.
Again, thank you to so many people who've been involved in setting up tonight. Some great questions which have really gotten to the heart of education and what the future of education can and should look like in Bradley County. It has been an honor to serve the people of the 1st District in Bradley County. One of the most humbling experiences of the last 4 years that I've had is to have a family thank me for providing an iPad to their kindergarten student. Those are the types of investments that we've been able to do because we've cut wasteful spending from our budget. Those are the types of things that we've been able to do so that we could get Lake Forest finally started. We break ground in September. We've been able to prioritize and get things done that most people didn't think was possible in Bradley County. And this election is real simple. You either support the direction this board is going, the tough decisions that we've made to get here and to keep moving forward, or you think that we've made a horrible mistake and that we should go back to the good old boy politics that Bradley County Schools is known for. I'm Chris Turner. I'm asking for your vote to continue to humbly serve you as a servant of the 1st District. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, both those of you who are incumbents and those who have offered you for public service. No higher calling does a citizen have to his community than that of public service. Our community expresses appreciation to you. They've told me, each of you, how much they appreciate the service that you're giving and offering yourselves for service. Let me tell you one thing. I had 5 other questions on my list. So people are interested in education. Folks, be an informed voter, participate in the election, support candidates of your choice, and cast your vote. Now we're going to be back in just a few minutes, and we're going to begin hearing from candidates for the Cleveland City Council. You're listening to a public forum provided to you through the Bradley County Bar Association and the Cleveland Lions Club and hosted by this wonderful Lee University. Thanks so much. We'll be right back with you just in a few seconds.
My name is Preston West, owner of Keystone Solutions. We specialize in helping small businesses with their IT needs, whether it's hardware or software or computer issues, servers, networks, kind of anything that's under the IT umbrella is what we take care of. We want to be it, if you will, when people are looking for IT help.
My name is Bill Kyle, owner of Kyle Motors. We are located at 802 20th Street Southeast. That's 1 block from Five-Bower School, 1 block from Dalton Highway. We have a lot of cars on our lot. A lot of them are $5,000 and less. We have great financing. We also have Carfax. If you want to see a copy of the Carfax, all you have to do is ask for it. If you're looking for a car under $5,000, come by and see us.
When I was accused of a crime, my liberty was hanging in the balance. My legal rights mattered to me, so I went to the professionals at Logan Thompson Law. Logan Thompson, attorneys at law, when it matters.
After I was injured due to the negligence of a careless driver, it mattered to me that I received the compensation that I was entitled to. When it matters to me, I choose Logan Thompson. Logan Thompson, attorneys at law, when it matters.
When I was denied my Social Security benefits, I turned to the legal professionals at Logan Thompson Law. When it mattered to me, I chose Logan Thompson. Logan Thompson, attorneys at law, when it matters.
First, I want to thank you all for volunteering to help Habitat for Humanity build a house. Your participation means so much. We couldn't do this without you. So, any questions? Come on, don't be shy. No such thing as a silly question, guys.
Donate and purchase from the Habitat Restore. That helps build houses.
No, you don't need to be able to hold a hammer. Anyone else?
Has your car been buried under a wave of dirt and grime? Then come to Cleveland Zone's Surf's Up Car Wash, where our expert cleaning services are here to help your vehicle shine like never before. Located just off of 25th Street, our easily accessible location has a variety of quick treatment options just for you. Get our best value wash at the best value price in Cleveland, Tennessee. Only at Surf's Up Car Wash.
I felt waves of nausea, pressure on my chest, my arms felt heavy. My husband insisted that I go to Tenova's ER. It's a good thing too, because I was having a heart attack and in total denial. I got absolutely excellent care. Thanks to Tenova and my husband, my life is great. And now I'm on a mission. I'm encouraging all my friends to be more aware of their heart health.
The Restore has kept over 3,250 tons of materials out of our local landfill since 2004. This has extended the life of the landfill and saved Bradley County taxpayers a tremendous amount of money.
The Restore opens up endless possibilities to turn trash into treasure through do-it-yourself repurposing of Restore items. It's fun to repurpose, restore, and recycle items that would otherwise be trashed.
Has your car been buried under a wave of dirt and grime? Then come to Cleveland Zone's Surf's Up Car Wash, where our expert cleaning services are here to help your vehicle shine like never before. Located just off of 25th Street, our easily accessible location has a variety of quick treatment options just for you. Get our best value wash at the best value price in Cleveland, Tennessee. Only at Surf's Up Car Wash.
The signs of a heart attack can be different in women. Recognizing them could save your life, so know the signs. If you experience them, call 911 because every minute matters. And know that Tenova Healthcare is here when you need us.
My name is Preston West, owner of Keystone Solutions. We specialize in helping small businesses with their IT needs, whether it's hardware or software or computer issues, servers, networks, kind of anything that's under the IT umbrella is what we take care of. We want to be it, if you will. When people are looking for IT help, we want to be the person that you call and the person that you think of first.
The Restore has kept over 3,250 tons of materials out of our local landfill since 2004. This has extended the life of the landfill and saved Bradley County taxpayers a tremendous amount of money.
The Restore opens up endless possibilities to turn trash into treasure through do-it-yourself repurposing of Restore items. It's fun to repurpose, restore, and recycle items that would otherwise be trashed.
I felt waves of nausea, pressure on my chest, my arms felt heavy. My husband insisted that I go to Nova's ER. It's a good thing too, because I was having a heart attack and in total denial. I got absolutely excellent care. Thanks to Tenova and my husband, my life is great. And now I'm on a mission. I'm encouraging all my friends to be more aware of their heart health.
Welcome back to the Political Forum, which is hosted this year by Lee University. What a wonderful, wonderful university we have here in Bradley County, Lee University, and they have so involved themselves in what's best for our community. The Cleveland Lions Club, the Bradley County Bar Association, and I know all of the government officials and the people who run for public office are so appreciative of the contributions of Lee University to the betterment of our community. The Bradley County Bar Association, as I've told you before, is a professional organization. The Cleveland Lions Club is a civic organization. These organizations are totally nonpartisan, and we take no position with reference to whom you should vote for, who should serve in our government. We do think you should be an informed voter, and we encourage you to share your views with others who may not have heard the candidates speak. Now we have the privilege of hearing from 4 candidates for positions on our Cleveland City Council. The Cleveland City Council is the board of directors of our community, our city, and they make the decisions which impact the direction of our community. We are pleased tonight to have these 4 candidates. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to follow the same format as we did before. First, the thing we're going to do is let you introduce yourselves and tell us what you think the major issues confronting our community in the future. Mr. Dale Hughes. Mr. Hughes, welcome to this political forum.
Thank you, Counselor. Appreciate it. My name is Dale Hughes. I represent the 5th District for the City Council. I want to say to the Lions Club and also to our legal association, certainly is great that you would provide this forum again for us during this election forum. I'm certainly grateful for the opportunity to come to this beautiful facility. It's the first time I've had a chance to look at all the different areas that this has to offer. The expertise is par excellence, and I appreciate Lee University letting us use this for the forum. I represent E.L. Ross and Cleveland High areas. Those are the 2 polling areas. And it's always, what I say, very good to be a small portion of making policy for the city of Cleveland. I have a small part. That's invigorating for me. I've enjoyed serving for 6 years on the City Council. It's been a wonderful thing for me, my family. We love and have a passion for Cleveland, Tennessee. It's a wonderful place to rear your children and also your grandchildren. It's a God-fearing community, and I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to serve.
Thank you. You want to tell us about the major issues that you see confronting us?
I'd love to. I just got a stop sign.
Well, I overruled the
You
stop sign.
overruled, okay. All right, yes. First of all, I'd like to say some of the things that I'm so proud of. The Raider Arena, a beautiful $9.8 million arena that was built with no tax dollars. I'm very proud of that because at the time, 2 schools were having to use the middle school facility. It just didn't work. There were thousands of kids that didn't have an opportunity. So we're proud of the Raider Arena. We're proud of the new jetport. And we're proud of the Greenway. The Greenway is an awesome thing for our community and many people using it on a daily basis. Just recently, we have the AirMed that we provide helicopter service for individuals who have a catastrophic problem physically. The helicopter will pick them up and take them to Chattanooga, or if indeed they have a burn, they will take them to a vested burn unit. And I'm grateful for those things that are happening in City Council at the present time.
Thank you. Ms. Barrett, would you introduce yourself to the people of the district in which you're running, 5th District, and tell us what you think the major issues that are confronting our community?
Thank you, Mr. Logan. My name is Mary Bear, and I want to be your next 5th District City Councilor. That district, of course, is E.L. Ross and Cleveland High School. For those of you who don't know me, I was raised on a dairy farm in Wisconsin with the dairy farm ethics. After attending the University of Wisconsin, I joined the military. This was at the end of the Vietnam War and at the beginning of the Cold War. I proudly served in the military, and I am very, very proud of that. I'm proud that we have 8,000 veterans in the city of Cleveland. I'm disappointed we have no representation for those veterans except for me, hopefully. After the military, I became a police officer in Metro Atlanta. I spent 15 years as a law enforcement officer in Metro Atlanta. After that, I moved up to Cleveland, Tennessee. This is a beautiful city that reminds me of my own home. And this is one of the reasons I'm running for the 5th District City Council. I believe we need ethical leadership. I believe we need strong communities. I believe that our infrastructure needs to improve. And these are the reasons that I'm running, and these are the issues that are facing the City Council.
Thank you. Mr. Tom Cassida. Mr. Cassida, the gentleman to your left used to hold a seat I understand you want. Is that correct?
Yes.
Introduce yourself to the people of your district and tell us what you believe the major issues are confronting the City Council.
Thank you, Mr. Logan. First of all, I'd like to thank the Lions Club and yourself and the Bar Association for hosting this event, and Lee University. I'm Tom Cassida, and I'm running for a candidate for the 3rd District of the city. I'm a byproduct of this community. I grew up in this community. I'm a Lee alumni, so I'm proud of that. I've been married to my wife as a high school sweetheart, Denise, for 33 years. I got 3 lovely children, Lauren, Jake, and Kelsey. And as far as what we need in this community, the issues we have in this community, is the infrastructure, public safety, and education. And that's my 3 main points. And if we have those 3 things that come together, then we can have economic development on that part.
Good, thank you. Mr. Avery Johnson, you used to hold the seat in the 3rd District, and now, as I understand it, life changes have brought about your candidacy for an at-large seat. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Reintroduce yourself and introduce yourself to the ones who do not know you.
Okay. Well, I'm Avery Johnson. I'm a member of the City Council and have been on the City Council for 22 plus years, and I've seen a lot and done a lot. I also am a native of Cleveland. I was born and raised here in Cleveland, Tennessee. And at an early age, when I really got involved in community services when I was 19 years old, and I began to look around, and I didn't see many role models that looked just like me involved in community services and certain civic organizations, and especially in politics. But I just love this community, and I always have loved this community. And I came from a great family, the McCarvers and the Cobbs, and my mother, Margie Johnson, taught me so much that has really lasted and stayed with me forever. So I enjoy doing what I do. I have served in many capacities, and as a member of the Lions Club, of course, served as president of the Cleveland Lions Club, and I want to thank you and the National Bar Association, the Bradley County Bar Association, for putting on this forum. I think it's extremely important that people get to know the candidates that are running. I've served in many civic organizations because I wanted to get to know this community, to get connected to the community, and I have enjoyed doing that. The issues that I feel like that are facing our city council and city government at this moment are the infrastructure issues concerning our streets and things like that. Our schools are about 400 overcrowded in the city school system right now. You know, we're developing our parks and recreations, and we have a lot of things going on. The growth is taking place, quite a bit of growth in the community right now, and we're trying to get ready for all of those things, and we have a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities.
Thank you. Mr. Hughes, I understand we may have had a technological fault there, that I may have hit your microphone and caused it not to be dead. Just tell us, if you will, what your perspective is as a president, city council member, and what you think the major issues confronting us again.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to give you a second opportunity.
I appreciate it. I understand my mic wasn't on. I don't know what happened, but that's all right.
I turned it off.
Oh, you turned it off, okay.
I'll confess.
Okay. Well, anyhow, sir, I'm Dale Hughes, and I've served 6 years on the city council. And it's been a pleasure of mine to be a small part of policy making for this great city. I came to Lee University as a student and never looked back. I loved Ohio, where I came from, but I came here when I was 19 years old and entered Lee, went through Lee University for 4 years, and then went to the University of Tennessee for my graduate work. Then Lee hired me for 12 years, and I was on the staff there, an athletic director, and taught there for 12 years. Then became the principal of Bradley High School from July 75 to 1996, approximately 21 years. I am a backer and supporter of education. The new arena that is built recently is an arena that everybody raves about, probably the nicest in the Southeast, I would say. It's a very nice high school arena, and I just got the stop sign.
Good. This time we're going to enforce it. We'll fix all of that on the future broadcast of this, because it's amazing what Lee University students and Lee University faculty can do to correct the problems that we might make.
Right.
How about that?
Thank you.
Mary, we're going to start with you with the questions.
Okay.
This is amazing. For many years, this has been the top requested question. How can we improve the relationship between the city and county government, or do we need to? How can we improve that? How can we identify common goals?
Well, definitely we need to improve the relationship. The relationship is not, it's not optimum right now. The county and the city have to work together. We have to work together because we have the same issues, the same problems, the same acreage practically. So, and part of that is what my issue is: strong communities. Strong communities start at the top with the leadership. With the city council has to be strong leadership, and the county commission has to be strong leadership. And they have to work together because our problems are the same. And with that leadership, the strong leadership, will get strong communities, because the police department doesn't fix the issues, the churches don't fix the issues, education, schools don't fix the issues. All of us together, the government, the leadership, and everyone will fix that together, and we will work together to become a strong, strong community.
Mr. Hughes, I'm going to go back to you because you folks are the candidates in the same district. You've heard this for many years, I'm sure, that the perception is that the city and the county governments do not work together and that there needs to be an improvement of that relationship. Tell the voters, is that accurate?
It is accurate. It sure is accurate.
How can we improve it?
And I would like to see a cohesive unit between the city and the county working together on the issues where we can work together. And we have had some great meetings. We had a meeting at the Mountain View Inn a couple of years ago where both the city and county came together and talked about those things that we had in common that we were trying to work together on. We have recently, we worked at animal control. We lacked one vote getting out of committee of merging the fire departments. So there has been some effort. And I think the relationship between individuals on the commission and on the city council is good. But as far as working together, it just hasn't been, and it needs to be a cohesive unit for the betterment of our community.
Mr. Cassida, you've heard this before, I'm sure, and it is, tell me how you could help us, if you were elected in your district, help us improve that relationship so that we work closer together.
Well, Jimmy, it's funny you ask that question because I served on the county school board back in 2004, 2008. The county commission and the county school board at that time didn't have a good relationship. So Terry McGuire and myself was the liaison to move forward and try to build those relationships, and we did. And as Mr. Hughes said, you know, we need to have a community that comes together. You know, the community, we're one as a whole. And, you know, we need to act like we're one as a whole, and we need to move the community forward. We can't be torn apart. We have to be, you know, woven together. So my thing is to make sure that we have meetings on a regular basis with our county commissioners, meet with them, find out what their needs are, our needs that we can share some resources with, and move the city forward. And that's what we're here for.
All right. Mr. Johnson, you're not new to this issue yourself, are you?
No, I'm not. I've served on several committees doing different studies trying to put the school together, you know, and moving into the area metro system between the city and the county. But it begins with reconciliation. We used to have joint meetings all the time with the city and the county. And for some reason or another, we just stopped those meetings. But in the early days, when we were having those meetings, the thing that I remember is that whenever we came together, the city and the county, we were able to achieve great things and do things that were really positive for our community. For example, the 911. When we merged the 911 city and county, that was a plus for us. The industrial development parks here in Cleveland, city and county come together, we develop a part, and then we get industry to come in, and we are number 5 or 6 in the state of Tennessee. There's Nashville, Memphis, you know, there's Knoxville and Chattanooga, and then there is Cleveland, Tennessee, so far as an industrial base. We have 12 Fortune 500 companies here. So when we come together, things work great. We just need reconciliation.
Mr. Cassida, there was interesting, I'd never heard this question. I'd talked with some people about it, but nobody had ever asked that we ask this question. Is it fair for city taxpayers to bear 50% more of the cost of projects which are jointly engaged in than county taxpayers pay? In other words, as I understand it, many of these projects we've talked about are funded 50% by the city, 50% by the county, but the city taxpayer pays both city taxes and county taxes. Is that fair?
I think it's, as far as the service we receive from the city, we have different things like waste pickup and those things that the county doesn't have. And I think, you know, those other services and needs we have, it's fair on that part. As far as taxes going to certain things like schools and stuff, we're all here for one purpose, and that's to educate all the kids in the Bradley County and also move Bradley County forward to make it the place where people want to come and live. Then it goes to the infrastructure, county and city both. We've got county schools that are in the city. So, and trying to pick those kids up sometime, I hear mothers and dads, long lines, they wait to try to get in there. So we're trying to work together and, to help each other on the road situation too. So I think it's a combination of both need to come together there again, and what our purpose is and where we want to move forward. The city does bear more taxes, but that's part of living in the city and some of the amenities you pick up from.
Mr. Johnson, interesting question, isn't it?
A very interesting question, and it's one that even I've had issues with for many, many years, because I know that the city residents pays a little bit over 50% of all the taxes collected in the county come from city residents. We even have districts inside the city where the county commissioners, all of their constituents are living inside the city. And yet we pay over 50% of the taxes that they use to do projects. And then most times when we talk about coming together to do certain projects, they say, well, the city needs to put up 50% and the county needs to put up 50%. We feel like we've already put up 50%. Really, the real formula should be, I think in many occasions, it should be 80-20. Except I feel I'm sympathetic over education. When it comes to education, whatever it takes for us to make our schools the best that there are in the state, then I'm all for that.
Thank you. Mr. Hughes, fascinating consideration.
Yes, it is. And if you talk with a number of the city people, especially the city employees, that's the city council employees, this is a real sticky subject. Avery just said it's over 50%. Isn't it 58%, Avery? 55%. I heard 58 earlier, but it is a concern. I don't know how you would do differently, because it's been that way, it's established, and therefore it's very hard to change that formula. So it's something we're going to have to live with, and we don't like it, but it's pretty well in concrete.
Mary, what about that as an issue? Should the city council stand up for the city taxpayer and say, we're not going to pay 50% of the cost of these things? We're already paying more than 50% through our payment of county taxes.
No, because the city of Cleveland residents have many more amenities and many more benefits than the county does. So it's it basically equals out, and the only way around it would be to incorporate the city and the county, and doesn't look like that'll ever happen.
Why not?
Well, I'm for it, but I've been told 100 times that will never happen. So your guess is as good as mine.
Okay. Of course, that's always a question. It was a question several years ago. It began to be a question. And the concept that you talked about and that we've talked about here is that we had a study group that was formed, as I understand it, in 1991, in which the obstacle was it was going to cost the county $9 million the first year to bring the teachers up. That's the next question. Mr. Johnson, do you oppose or support the formation of a research and study group, as they've done in Whitfield County and Dalton, to study how to bring the governments together and then propose a charter for the voters to vote on?
I would not be in opposition to that. I think that would be a good place to start. I think we need to start somewhere, because these issues keep coming up and coming up. Back in, you said 1991, I was on that committee that looked at the educational system and tried to put them both together, and we found out that a biology teacher inside the city made a little bit more than a biology teacher in the county, but the administration in the county was a little bit more money than the administration was in the city. And in order to put the system together, you have to have everybody on the equal pay. according to state law. And so there was a lot of discussion about that issue at that particular time. And then the next thing you know, when it comes to the money and trying to get everybody equal, that's when it all fell apart. So I think that if we can find some good state-of-the-art people out there that are doing the right things and making the things happen, I'm all for that. And I know that's really the way to go. We have to have somebody from the outside to come in and show us how we can get across this hurdle.
Mr. Hughes?
Well, in 1991, I remember that there was a real push for this, and a lot of people talking about it, a lot of newspaper coverage on it also. At Bradley High School, there was a major meeting of the city and county to come together, and that particular evening, there were very few people that came. When you get right down to it, we're pretty territorial. The county and the city, they like their territory. So for that to happen, I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime. And I would be for some of those. The fire departments should be merged. I believe that. But there are some areas that would be easier than others. But I don't know whether it's going to come to pass.
You sort of introduced that question with your last comment, didn't you, Mary, when we were talking about some of the issues that confront us? It's never going to happen.
No, I've always entertained the idea. I've always thought that it's a way to save money for all the taxpayers. But the powers that be don't want to give up their territories, and I just believe it's a situation that might not happen in my lifetime either. But I surely would not pay money to have a committee to show us how to do this. I mean, there's other formats out there that's already been done. It's been done all over the United States, cities and counties.
But isn't somebody going to have to set forth the criteria? And if the city commission and the county commission, you agreeing with Mr. Hughes that we're all a little territorial, how's it going to happen unless we support looking at it, perhaps as both governments, to see what we can bring together?
Oh, that's right. I mean,
and that
I
costs
believe
money,
we need
doesn't
to
it?
look at it, but we don't need to go out and waste money and spend money foolishly. I mean, that's what we have MTAS for, right? That's a prime example of why we're all in this race, is because $21,500 was wasted on a committee to try to find a city manager. MTAS said they would do it for free. I'm not going to throw any more money away. We need that money for schools. So, no.
All right. Thank you for your response to that question. And I'm going to follow up on that with the rest of you. Do we need professional help when we engage in things like trying to find? Mary's expressed her opinion with reference to that.
Well, I think so. I think as far as city manager, we had 64 applicants, and we had a committee of 7 who vetted the 64 and brought it down to 5. And then we had Mr. Larry Wallace go to each community. One dropped out, by the way. Went to each community and sat down with people downtown, at their job, numerous people with conversation to find out what kind of folks that were applying for our job as city manager. He did a wonderful job of going from city to city so we'd know what kind of product that we're getting, and that's necessary.
All right, but the question or the response a few moments ago was that MTAS would do it for free.
MTAS does not go into the communities and seek out the person and seek out the relationships that individual has in their community.
All right.
They will not do that.
Let's move to a separate topic, and I guess, Mr. Hughes, we're back over to you. I think that's correct. As you know, our community is growing quickly, the population's increasing, the number of cars on the road. You sometimes now have some stop lights that you have to wait until it goes through the cycle again before you can go through it, especially at busy times on the streets. The transportation seems to be the major concern when people would call and ask questions. Do we have a plan for implementing transportation improvements in the city?
Jimmy, you're right. That is a problem, and especially in the evenings when the workplace, people get out and start home. It's a terrible problem with our infrastructure of wheels. We're having a lot of problem. Now, Highway 60, we have a new elementary school. We purchased the property, the school board has. We have 220 apartments that the Brooks Apartments people are supposed to put on that same area about a mile from where the elementary school is. And it's going to be very difficult to do that on the road that we have at the present time, because the road now will not carry the traffic. In the morning, you have to be a race car driver or have to be very clever to get to where you want to go if you're going on that particular road, Highway 60. So our biggest problem, one of our biggest problems, is our traffic. And of course, TDOT is going to help us with that, but it's several years before that takes place. And I think it's like 4 years before we'll get money for that. If we started today, it would take 6 years to build that road, mainly because there are many, many pieces of property that we have to buy, that TDOT has to buy, so that we can have the widening of the road. And say there's 200 pieces of property. I understand there's 300. Say there's 300 pieces of property that you have to buy. 50 or 60 of them will say no, and you have to go through the court system for eminent domain in order to make that work. So it's going to be a structure in the future as far as that road is concerned, and I trust the sooner the better, for sure.
Some of the people, and I'll pass the question over to you regarding the transportation needs and whether or not we have the plan in place to do that. You mentioned Highway 60. I hear people talking about the Tasso Lane, about Michigan Avenue Road. Some of the people who called in about this live on Mouse Creek Valley Road. What are we going to do to provide for safe transportation and efficient transportation for our citizens? Mary?
One of the major issues is infrastructure, and it's not just the roads, it's also the underground, the fiber optic, the sewers, the water, everything. But if our city council had been doing their job of leading, they should have been leading us 20 years in advance. In other words, you knew the city was growing 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you knew we were going to be almost doubling our population within the next 40 years. So you should have been planning ahead. Infrastructure always comes first. You can't build new schools. You can't build business. You can't bring all these things, all these homes into the community and just forget about the roads and the infrastructure. It should have been done with good leadership before, but a few people on the city council were busy doing other things instead of bringing this city 20 years into the future.
I'll come back to you. Mr. Cassada, what about this? Where's the plan?
Yeah, well, the infrastructure is something I deal with every day. Living in Lenox Hills on 60, I have to get out in it, and my family does too. So the plan needs to be set forth, and we need to have some planning sessions as we develop certain areas like a new industrial park, you know, what type of growth we want to have, and start planning these things. It's just like the education too. We look at education and we're overcrowded by 500 schools. We need another elementary school. So those things need to be planned on our growth base and planned out into the future to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place. And as far as roads need to be widened, it's like Tennessee Nursery Road. On my side, Mouse Creek, you know, a lot of roads have been like that for years. So we need to develop an infrastructure that can support the system and the growth that we currently have and what we look for in the future.
Mr. Johnson, well, what are we going to do?
Well, what we really need to do, we need to really get a strategic planning system, and it needs to be 5 to 10 years. You know, it can be even more than that. Several years ago, the city and the county came together, and we put together and we had a study done for our community to assess the needs of our community, and that was what they call a 2035 program, which was a 25-year looking at the future. And we looked at it, but then somehow or another we just laid the plan aside because they didn't believe all the numbers we were seeing, how many houses we're going to need, how many streets we're going to have to rebuild, and streets we're going to have to provide, and how we're going to move the transportation and all the infrastructure. There's a lot of needs, a lot of things, and they laid them aside, but I can assure you, you're absolutely right. The growth of the city of Cleveland has continued. It really is ahead of what they predicted, in my opinion. I've looked at it, and the growth is here. We got jobs, we got people coming into our community right and left, and the infrastructure is still a little bit behind. So we need to get our people involved, start listening to the people, and let's just really get on with it. Yeah.
You know, it's been a great evening.
I want to make a comment on that.
Sure.
If I may.
Go ahead.
Also, I agree that we're in a need of a lot of things because of the growth has been so rapid. Mary was on the planning committee.
No, sir.
She worked on the
I've never been on the planning committee.
Let me correct that. You worked in the planning office, and you were, I think, an inspector for plumbing. Is that right? At one time?
Yes, sir.
Well, a lot of that planning comes from that area. They're in charge of the MPO. Greg Thomas, who is in that area, comes through the MPO. And so instead of saying the city council didn't do their job, I believe the planning many times have to present to the city council for those things that need to be done. Response.
I saw when I first came to work here in '98, I saw the 35-year plan, and they were predicting numbers of what was going to happen in Cleveland, housing, and I was only involved in the housing part of it. I'm just a building inspector. I wasn't a department head. I wasn't anything like that. And we all knew that this was going to happen. The people who make those decisions are the city councilmen, the leadership, and if 4 or 5 of them or 3 or 4 of them decide to table that and ignore that issue, then you see what we have today.
Okay. Folks, they tell me that this has lasted longer than I thought it had because you all have given good answers to hard questions. If you will, and we'll start, Mr. Johnson, with you. If you will, tell us your closing remarks, and if you wish to address some of the issues, do so within those remarks, okay?
Well, this upcoming election is a very critical election. Apparently my opponent don't think it's really that critical because they're not here. But I think it's critical that we have good people. We got to continue to have the best leadership that we can have on the city council. That's very, very important. I love this community. I've put a lot of time in the community, but it's time now for us to really start coming together and start getting ready and getting our infrastructure needs in place. A lot of things, the comments that I've heard here on a couple of issues was the Cleveland High School arena. You know, we're very proud of that arena and all of that process, but I want everybody to know that the vote was locked down 3 for it and 3 against it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the person that broke that tie. I'm the one that says we got to do this because it's not right for our children to go to Cleveland Middle School, go to Lee University, and have to play, and then our guests coming into town have to follow all over town trying to find where we're playing. So I realize the importance of making strong decisions, the right decisions at the right time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. Casta?
Yeah, thank you again. My main mission is to bring the community together. You know, I've always said that we grew up in the community together. We go to school together. We've got kids that play ball together. We go to church together. We shop together. And my whole focus is to bring the community together, is to do this thing and make it a stronger community. Working with the county commission and the city council, I think it's a must on that part in order to move the community forward. And I want to be that person. So if you would vote for me for the city council in 3rd District, I'd appreciate it. And thank you for the time.
Thank you. Ms. Bauer.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. I love this city. I really do. We all could live anywhere we want to live, but we choose to live in Cleveland because this is a great city. I believe I can help move it into the future a little more directly. I will bring to the position of city council, I will bring ethics, I will bring a team member, I will be a team member. I will promise you, I have no agenda, that I only truly care about the citizens of Cleveland. And I am Mary Bear, and I'm running for the 5th District City Council. Thank you for your vote.
Mr. Hughes.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure of mine to serve on the City Council and to see a lot of development. City Councilman Johnson just mentioned the arena. I'd like to mention that it was not a tax raise that we had when we built that. There were no increased taxes. And it's the nicest arena in the Southeast. The Greenway has been wonderful, and we've been able to add to that just about on a monthly basis. It's premier for a city our size. So I would like to continue the progress that we have made, and I'm serving the 5th District, which is Cleveland High and also E.L. Ross. My name is Dale Hughes, and I would appreciate your vote.
Thank you very much. Again, our appreciation to you for your service to our community in whatever capacity you've done so in offering yourselves as candidates. And thank you for participating and helping us make sure you, the public, are an informed voter. We'll be back in just a moment with a closing interview of the school board candidate in the city school board races. Folks, it's important. Call a neighbor, call a friend, tell them you can hear somebody talk about the Cleveland City School System in just a moment. We'll be right back.
I felt waves of nausea, pressure on my chest, my arms felt heavy. My husband insisted that I go to Tenova's ER. It's a good thing too, because I was having a heart attack and in total denial. I got absolutely excellent care. Thanks to Tenova and my husband, my life is great. And now I'm on a mission. I'm encouraging all my friends to be more aware of their heart health.
The Restore has kept over 3,250 tons of materials out of our local landfill since 2004. This has extended the life of the landfill and saved Bradley County taxpayers a tremendous amount of money.
The Restore opens up endless possibilities to turn trash into treasure through do-it-yourself repurposing of Restore items. It's fun to repurpose, restore, and recycle items that would otherwise be trashed.
City School Board races, and we have a wonderful guest with us. Tell the viewing audience who you are and what are the major issues facing the Cleveland City School System.
I'm Carolyn Ingram, and I have been a native of Cleveland for about 30 years. I have 45 years in education. 24 of those I just completed as principal of Yates Primary. Before that, I was principal at the old Blythe School, and then before that, I taught 18 years in about 4 different states. I'm a graduate of Tennessee Wesleyan College, Tennessee Tech, and LMU. I have my EDS from there, and I am quite active in the community. I'm a member of Broad Street United Methodist Church, where I serve on several committees and also teach a Sunday school class. I'm a member of the Noonday Rotary, and I am on the board for Habitat, serving as their secretary, as well as working in the Family Selection Committee. So I stay real busy. I have 3 grandchildren, 2 sons, one of which will be going to Cleveland Middle School as the director of sports there, and then 2 grandchildren who go to the Cleveland City Schools, and 1 grandchild who goes to Bradley. And so I hear a lot of the differences that go on between the 2 schools, and it's interesting to hear those girls talk about it. I'm married to Jerry Frenetza, who is the construction manager for Habitat, and we do lots of things together with Habitat, as well as being very active ball fans.
Tell me, if you will, what distinguishes you from your opponent in this race, and which district is it that you're running in?
I'm running in District 1, which is one of the districts that's rather split, but I feel like that with my background in education of 45 years and just have retired, I have a current knowledge of what's going on in education. I've kept up with education all these years. I read a lot. I've been on many committees, and so I just feel like that just coming out of the school system at Yates, I have a good knowledge of what is happening in education and what is needed in education. I am a real advocate for teachers, because I think if, as I tell my teachers at school, if we've got to have joy in the workplace. And so I am a big advocate for teachers and what they need, and the way that the principals and the administration can work with them.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being with us and sharing with the public your desires to serve the public education system for the city of Cleveland.
Thank you, Mr. Logan.
Thank you. Folks, you've been listening to the candidates for very important positions in our government. We want you to be an informed voter. Thank you for listening. We encourage you to go vote. You can still vote tomorrow or Saturday, early voting, or wait till Election Day and vote. Just make sure you exercise your right to vote.